It's beer making day here at the High Steel Beer Company, and I'm with Evan Puckett to find out how it works. How are you?
Doing good.
Good to see you. Let's find out. So we are inside Smoke and Moe's, and it's the High Steel Beer Company. Mm-hmm. How long have you been with High Steel now?
Since May.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the process here. I see a lot of malt bags, and I see a lot of big fermentation tanks. Yep. I want to know all about this. So let's walk through the process.
So right now we got our grain lined up. Well, we're heating up some water.
Okay.
And in here a few minutes we'll be pumping some water into the mash tun, where then we'll add grain and be mixing hot water and grain, where it's going to sit for about an hour. And then after that we'll drain liquid out of there into the kettle and add some more hot water to it, and then heat it up to boil for about an hour.
How much water can fit in here?
It's about 310 gallons.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
And how do you go with this malt? Is the malt what's going to make the different flavors, or how do you get the unique flavors that you guys have?
So we're using 4 different kinds of malt today.
Okay.
One of them's a 2-row low kiln malt, and then a couple other roasted malts. And we're brewing an amber today. Okay. So it should wind up with kind of a amber dark golden color. Yeah.
So when you are choosing the malts, how do you go about tasting them or testing them to find out if it's going to work for that amber?
Most of these are stuff that I've used pretty regularly, so I just kind of get a feel for what they're going to do and figure out the right combination for whatever beer I'm brewing that week.
So when you take the stuff from the mash barrels here over to the fermentation barrels, how long do they stay here, and what's that process like?
So as soon as I'm done boiling, I'll run it through a heat exchanger to take it from boiling down to mid-60s. And then once it's in here, I'll add yeast, and it'll sit and ferment for roughly 3 weeks or so. And then probably a few days after that, chill it down and carbonate and keg it.
So from this, you'll go into the kegs. How many kegs do you think you could fill with one of these tanks, or are all 3 part of the process?
Typically, it'll just stay in one tank.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get roughly 14 of the big half-barrel kegs.
Wow. So. And currently you guys are sending your beers out, too, to different places, right?
Yeah. There's a few places, Hama Hama Oyster Saloon and Oli Tap Room, and there's a couple other places that should have it on here pretty quick, too.
So talk to me a little bit now about how these beers and the alcohol level, because kind of traditionally, the more mainstream beers, I guess, are kind of around a 5% alcohol.
Sure.
And now you see some other beers that are up 8, 10, and higher. How does that work?
Really, it's just a matter of what you're going for at that time. If you use a lot more grain to get to a higher alcohol percentage, which doesn't mean it costs more, but it's just different. So we do have a range of IPAs that we've been shooting for, everywhere from 6 to 8.5%.
Okay. What are some of the plans that you guys have for competitions and things like that? Are you guys planning on putting these beers out to the world more?
So as far as distribution, we're just keeping it local, but we do have 10 beers entered in the Washington Beer Awards.
Oh, great.
Which I think find out how that goes early November.
Okay. So. And then I was talking to Tom about some of this, but some of the fun things that come from this is the naming process. How do you guys come up with the names for some of these?
I'm pretty generic when it comes to the naming, and most of that goes with Tom and Mo.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely need help on that one.
What are some of the future goals for High Steel, and either just expansion or other sorts of just tests and different types of beers that you're looking at in the future?
Well, we do keep about 6 or 7 kind of flagship beers that we'll keep on all the time, and then just keep rotating 4 or 5 other just different varieties of hops and grains going through, and keep trying different stuff.
The High Steel Beer Company here in Shelton is part of Smoke and Moe's. You can come down and try some of the great beers they have. You can even try some of the great food they have, pair it together, get some great merchandise to show off your support for the High Steel Beer Company here in Shelton. Evan, thank you for your time today. I know this is a very intricate process. Fortunately, we found you at kind of a stop-down point where we could talk about this, but it is just really fascinating how all of this kind of comes together, and then people just enjoy it, and how much they're enjoying the High Steel beer.
Yeah, thanks for coming down today.